Well, hello, everyone. So if you're like me and if you're like my colleague, Catherine, you are so relieved that the COVID pandemic is over. It's in our rearview mirror. But if you're like us, it left a lot of baggage, didn't it? And it left a lot of problems for us to solve. And so I did begin my career in the hospitality industry, and I was so fortunate to have a wonderful career there, and then to be able to segue to Lackawanna College and work in our amazing School of Hospitality. But COVID really killed the hospitality industry, as I'm sure you all know. I'm sure some of the highlights for you of the pandemic, if there were any, were thinking about who's actually doing takeout, right? Or which restaurants were open, or which grocery stores had the things that you want. But COVID left us in higher ed, especially in hospitality higher ed, two distinct problems. One, it created a lot of trepidation in students that were currently studying with us, and then with the pipeline of students that were thinking about entering the education, hospitality education segment. So we had that, and then our mission at Lackawanna College for our School of Hospitality is to create a world-class hospitality education right here in our region, right here for our students. And it kind of left us wondering, people are just questioning this industry as a whole anymore. Is our mission still possible? Are we still going to be able to do that? And then it also, COVID gave our local restaurant industry some big problems, right? The world as we know it is never going to be the same, and the restaurant industry is never going to be the same. So we, at both of our institutions, at Lackawanna and Marywood University, we have a pledge to be strong forces in workforce development. And our local restaurant industry needed us to continue to educate the pipeline of students that would come out and work in our local industry. And if you're like me, I was born and raised in Scranton. Some of you may be like me. Some of you may have come from a different region, but as an adult, you made Northeastern Pennsylvania your home. You know that we are some of the most hardworking, resilient people in the world. And our local restaurant industry deserved a spotlight. So we at Lackawanna College, we really wrestled with how do we solve these two big problems that COVID left for us. So the way that we solved it was through a little bit of Christmas magic. So I'd like to invite you into the story of why we at Lackawanna College, and Catherine agrees, think that often problems can be some of the most fertile soil for innovation, right? Which is the theme, what we're talking about today, innovation in leadership. So our story of problem solving this begins with Blitzen the Bar, which was a pop-up immersive Christmas experience that a world-renowned designer and illustrator who, oh yeah, just happens to be from Scranton, created. And she opened it in Wilmington, Delaware to smashing success. So we at Lackawanna College thought, this is a perfect way to solve all those problems that I just identified for you. So I want to tell you the story of how Blitzen came to town, how it solved a problem for us, how it created another problem for us, which is why we're here talking to you today, and how it led to the big idea of collaboration, which for me is one of my favorite tools in my leadership toolbox. So let me tell you a little bit about Blitzen, and these are real-life pictures. Blitzen came to Lackawanna College in 2022, and it opened to smashing success. We are very fortunate at Lackawanna College to have a student-run restaurant called 409 on Adams, and we intentionally designed it to be very beigey and very neutral so that we could kind of make it whatever the live class that guests were coming into, we could change the theme up. So when Dallas came in and her team of expert designers, they looked around and they thought, wow, we need to turn this into Blitzen's Den. And if anybody here go to Blitzen, by the way? Anybody visit it? Oh, yay. And if not, spoiler alert, it's coming back for 2023, so you can come visit us. But Dallas came in and she wrote this amazing story of Blitzen, Santa's least favorite reindeer, and invited you into his den, his place that he hangs out off season. reason. And she came into our restaurant, 409 on Adams, and with her designers kind of opened her palms and sort of blew Blitzen just into existence, into our live classroom. And Blitzen, the day we opened the door, we cut the ribbon, and we were just bombarded. We had so much success. I'll tell you just an interesting story. I think we've all in our careers worked on a project, right, that we think, gosh, I've invested so much in this. Please, people like it. Please let it be a success, right? And one day, right near the opening, I was sitting in my car on Penn Avenue ordering Tyrac Thai to feed my family so that I could go start my shift at Blitzen at about 8 o'clock that night. So it was just when offices would be closing right around 5 o'clock when Blitzen opened. So I'm sitting a block before where we were. And I noticed this mob of a crowd start walking down from Courthouse Square. And I was thinking, no, that can't be, right? And as they got closer and closer and passed me out and came down, they were going to Blitzen. And we rocked that night, and we continued to rock. And Blitzen was just this wonderful, magical experience for our students, for our college, and for our local economy. But it created a big problem for us, and that problem was that people wanted a spring pop-up, So in higher ed, we live our life in semesters. So we had this awesome concept for the community in our fall semester, which is what winter is, and for our students. But the students that would be studying in a spring semester in the community said, hey, you need to do something like this in the spring. And that's how I met Catherine, because as I think about collaboration, I was thinking, well, shoot, Dallas, the designer of Blitzen, she doesn't have a spring pop-up concept. And I had enough trouble putting together an outfit to come here today, let alone designing a spring concept that could even rival what Dallas designed. But I knew that Marywood University had an architectural design program. So we made some calls, we had a few meetings, and we sort of are doing like that old fable Stone Soup did. We're bringing the resources that we have to solve a problem and sort of make everybody happy. And we hope to create a little bit of collegiate magic through resource sharing. So we're going to tell you a little bit about that today, the strategies that we're going to use to educate students in the new world and to give the students in the community what they want, which is an amazing spring pop-up. So at Lackawanna College, the resources that we're bringing to this great idea, and by the way, that picture that you're looking at is really Blitzen. If you were there, you know how magnificent it was. If you didn't, please come see us because it's as magical as it looks. We have wonderful students in the School of Hospitality that study 4 different majors that do culinary and hospitality management and baking and pastry and beverages and management. So we bring that. We bring this wonderful facility that Catherine and her students and her team can transform for us. And we have an amazing culture at Lackawanna of innovation and collaboration. As a matter of fact, Lackawanna College, as many of you know, was named Fast Company, one of Fast Company's top most innovative companies in the world. So we have an environment, and we are lucky enough to have a wonderful president, who she'll be mad at me for this, but is in this room, Dr. Jill Murray, who encourages me and encourages our team to take risks and encourages us to dream up wild ideas and collaboration so that we can achieve our mission of educating our students who will better themselves and the communities they live in. So Catherine, tell us about Marywood.
So at Marywood University, we are a small liberal arts school, but we do really succeed in a lot of departments, especially our architecture and design department. Our School of Architecture student this year is actually 105 incoming freshmen. We have 5 years of students that we're going to put forth to this project, both architecture and interior architecture students, along with graduate students. So we are just thrilled. The students signed up, and they know what they're in for, and we're going to deliver that each semester. We also have state-of-the-art design facilities. So in the past, the School of Architecture has been a little bit smaller, but we have grown. And with the growth, we have merged with the Insulaco School of Art, and we have merged our wood shop. We have invested in laser cutters, 3D printing, virtual reality tools. We have the tools, and we're really excited to be able to even make pieces like furniture and lamps to actually put on display within the restaurant. We also come from culture and innovation. It's in our core values. At Marywood, we're looking to cross paths. We're helping to mold students. We want them to be agile and dynamic. We want them to respond to their peers in these other disciplines and really cross paths. I think it's great to stay within our school, but to be outside and experience the other students, it's just a new set of dimensional problems that we can't offer, but now we can. This is an exciting chance for them to solve these problems. We also have a mission to educate students to find solutions that better the world. Bettering the world through design. I know it sounds far-fetched, but we are helping make better graduates through design, through these interdisciplinary problems that we face and we're ahead of the curve. We'll be ahead of the curve of other institutions alongside Lackawanna. Lastly, we have support. So we have great support from our president to the dean, to my director, who I'm actually speaking for today, James Eckler. And we're looking for opportunities such as this one in the community every day. We're pursuing these industry leaders. We're pursuing different opportunities to make other institutions work alongside us and work together.
So we're cooking up a little bit of some classroom magic because the classroom is not the same in a post-COVID world either. So Catherine and I and the teams and the students that we're bringing together, we envision bringing students from all sorts of disciplines in one interactive classroom and giving them this project to solve, the creation of a spring pop-up. We envision this to be a hub for creative thinkers from various disciplines. And Catherine, talk about the opportunity that you see for your students and for our students.
So I think when you do a design project, you put time in. Everyone knows that. You put your endless amounts of time, and there is no better feeling than allowing something for yourself to experience, as well as your colleagues, your friends, and your family. So imagine countless hours executing details that you yourself have designed with your team, and then bringing your family there. Just imagine that feeling. Nothing compares to it. And now you'll understand why, if you know any design students, they haven't answered their phone in a few days. I think also an early introduction to future business relationship, hospitality design players. We're setting our students up for partnerships, for future roles, for future programs, for future jobs. You're building the relationships that you need in the community. This is all about networking. And these clients, these future partners, may be your future employer. And then lastly, an out-of-the-classroom field experience. I can tell you just from my history, when you're in the classroom, you do learn a lot, but going outside of the classroom and understanding what you do in the real world and how to interact with others, you and I all know that you don't understand a problem or fix a problem until you have it in that tactile experience. This is so important for our young learners to get out there and experience outside of the classroom. Even though we're out there surveying, building, understanding the design, we're still solving issues with our peers.
And we see this as an incredible opportunity for students that will be part of this project to have the experience to learn from instructors outside of their discipline. I mean, think about how great this will be to have professional writing students who will write the narrative of what this pop-up will be, and to have the input from a chef or from an interior designer or an architect. We just are so excited for the dynamic learning that we hope will take place, that we envision will take place in this classroom. And we shared our missions for both institutions with you. We see this as an opportunity for our students to not only do something that they're super proud of, but to have an impact in our region, to drive tourism to Scranton and northeastern Pennsylvania. And we hope and we think that this is a model that all of you, even if outside of higher education, in any sort of business, can duplicate. We know that collaboration can lead to magic. So this is an actual picture of Dallas Shaw, Blitzen's creator, who, oh yes, also is an alum of Marywood University. So to just be in a space with chefs and architects and interior designers, Dallas, who is blue check marked on everything, and we know that that matters to students, right? Just to learn from her, to be in a room with culinary and baking and pastry and hospitality students, and who else, Catherine?
Architecture and design students, obviously. Music students. We have a school of music at Marywood. We're going to engage, have them set the tone for the restaurant. Professional writing students that we both offer practices with, they can actually write about the aesthetic that we're creating and the taste that we're creating with the food so the public can read about it. We're also looking at industry partners, community members, future students. These are all really, really great candidates that we're considering for this collaboration magic. And I'd have a quick antidote just about this collaboration
I love
magic.
this story.
So I don't know if anyone in the room knows who Louis Kahn is. He was a famous architect. About 1959, he was commissioned for a design of the Salk Institute in California. So in this commission, he was asked a weird question and a very unique representation: to design a biological research center where engineers, scientists, and then Pablo Picasso can all have meetings throughout the entire facility. So the facility is beautiful, it's award-winning, but the biggest interesting design feature that Louis Kahn was able to execute was throughout the passageways, so in the corridors and in the stairs, he lined the walls with slate. We all know what slate is, right? Now we use whiteboards, but back then it was a chalkboard. So as these collaborations were happening, as the scientists were walking through the hallways, as the small coffee tops were happening, as you were running through to get to your final destination, you were stopping and you were allowed to collaborate on the walls. So as people walked through the Salk Institute, they were able to see these crazy ideas of scientists or beautiful paintings by Pablo Picasso, and you were able to immerse yourself in the collaboration as you walked all along your journey throughout this space. And we really think that collaboration isn't working together to get more done, right? We're actually valuing collaboration to allow us to think differently. That's the value of collaborations, and that's really what we're preparing our students to do. We want to know what a chef wants his customer to feel before he enters and looks at the menu and orders, because the chef needs to understand the design of the room really helps how to order. The food helps the design. It all really reflects one another.
I love that story so much, and we're hoping that through modeling that example, that Louis Kahn's wonderful inspiration, that this cohort of diverse thinkers will experience and will create some magic together, that they'll have the opportunity to create something in the community that they're super proud of, that they, just like Catherine's example, will benefit from being around a table and in a room with diverse thinkers and practitioners. We know for Blitzen, just working with Dallas alone gave high resume content for these students. And we are so excited for them to be able to add this spring concept to the resumes that they'll have when they're done. We all know as professionals that networking is so important, and this special project will give our students and will give our instructors the opportunity to network in a greater way than they probably would in a normal semester without this collaboration. And we really envision and wish for this cohort of students and instructors that they will all learn the beauty of refining ideas collaboratively. I think as a young leader, something that I was always fearful of is throwing out an idea and getting feedback or pushback, because then I felt like my idea wasn't good. And I've since learned that ideas get so much better when diverse minds and hands touch them. And so that's my wish for these students, that they would learn how to do that, how to refine ideas together as a crew. Catherine?
Yeah, so in addition to that, we really want to think about engaging the five senses. This is all about design. We're thinking of touch, color, taste, temperature, the opportunity for music with hearing. Oftentimes in design, you don't get the opportunity for taste, so this is a magnificent opportunity. And then we really want to think about how to set the dimensional problems apart. So I think about lighting. How does lighting affect food? How does lighting affect your colleagues or in a restaurant? Is it blinding you? How does it come off the materials you selected within the restaurant. There are so many opportunities for just one portion of design that we're going to work together in this cohort and figure out together. It's really, really a net value add that we are really excited to see.
So as we kind of bring this to a nice ribbon around here, I want to talk to you for a minute about the ribbon cutting and just the magic that Blitzen created for our community, and just our hope that through collaboration and leadership that we can create some more community magic. So this is an actual picture, and I just noticed when we were rehearsing that it looks like the way I'm standing that I have antlers. I think that's kind of funny there, but this is, you'll see our president there. See the cool dude behind her? That's our chef, Mark Siebert, who totally got into character for Blitzen, and then me and Scranton's mayor cutting the ribbon, and it was just such a fabulous day for our students in the community. We heard over and over from multiple stakeholders that it felt like they were walking into something they would experience in New York City or LA, and what a wonderful thing for our students to experience during the course of a semester and for our community to experience. We also want to give, I want to give our students, Catherine wants to give them a compelling reason to stay here, and creating something they can be proud of in their community and seeing how well received it can be. Man, that's a really good reason to want to stay and put roots down here.
Community magic. They can equate food to traditions and values, understand what home means, and how to give back to your community, and how to make it a connection between where your family is and why they're here.
And so many of you, and as I'm looking around and noticing you, I did see you at Blitzen, so thank you. But Blitzen increased tourism for our region. It was good for the college, it was good for the city and the region, and we think that the spring pop-up will do the same. We also got a lot of earned media, which is always good for any of us in business, right? But we think that this idea of collaborating in leadership to come up with some magical ideas is a really good way to shine a spotlight on your institution of education or on your business. And Catherine and I believe very strongly that what we're doing could quite possibly become a case study of how to educate innovatively coming right out of Scranton. So in closing, we would like to invite you in, right? This wouldn't be a good session on collaboration if we didn't draw in all the brilliant and creative minds in this room and at this conference. So instead of a traditional Q&A, we're sort of going to ask you a question. What do you think a good idea for the spring pop-up would be? Catherine and her team are going to kind of throw out a mood board for the students, but she'd love some ideas of what you would envision. Who else should we be talking to? Who else should we bring to the table, or where would you like to partner with us? And then finally, we would like to thank you for coming to our session by extending to all of you a special VIP invite. If you email either me or Catherine, and you can see our email addresses up there, or you can chat with us after, and put in the email subject line Spring VIP List, we will give you a special invite to have the VIP sneak preview of whatever these students dream up.